it. Even Sharmila. Sharmila is not able to join. She's undergoing some small surgery in her nose, so she'll not be able to. But hi, yes.
So, Dr. Vinaya, what's up? Sameer and Arindam and Rickson are a part of.
Vikram sir and Ricky both, like Rickson, both are a part of our investing evaluation teams.
Okay.
While Sameer, Arindam as well, we are all a part of our startups. So happy to have him. So once again, Sameer, Arindam are from AI Can Sell, and Tarun Mohan sir is from MobiPay. Right.
Not MobiPay. MobiPay.
No. Modi pay, I cannot say. Modi has not paid. I am only paying taxes. That's
No,
all.
somebody was actually telling us convert your name to Modi Pay, funds will start flowing in.
What is it? Then I think Mohan Tarun should actually see for it. Okay, with everyone's permission, as I understand, each one of you would have a different, other things to attend up. Without wasting a time, shall we start? Is it okay with Vikram sir and Ricky? Is it okay? Should we start up?
Yeah, hi, good evening, everyone. I'm okay to start. Thanks, Dr. Vinaya.
Yes, I was just thinking, why are you not talking?
So we have to let the ladies first.
Oh, is it? No, you allow me. I'll just keep going on and on. So I'll try not to speak much. So the people.
Let's begin. Sure.
So Tarun or Sameer sir and Arindam, who wants to start up first? You can just pick up one person and then the other one can go ahead.
You decide. You decide.
For me, I decide. Okay, Sameer sir, let us go ahead then. Arindam, Sameer, is it okay for you all?
Sure.
Sure, great. Then let's then start. I have already started recording, so that shouldn't be a problem. Yes.
I'm going to be sharing my screen just now.
Wonderful.
Are you able to see my screen?
Yes, we are able to.
Right. Good evening, everyone. My name is Sameer Sikka, and I and Arindam together have co-founded I Can Sell, written as AI Can Sell, and we have our founding partners also in Dubai. So this is a team that has come together from the Middle East and India. We are an AI-assisted competency growth platform for students and employees. I'm going to time myself, so we are starting at 6:50. Yeah. So let me full screen this. We help in creating industry ready talent using AI assisted models, and essentially the value proposition that we want to offer is to cut the repetitive training costs of organizations by almost 75% by de-risking them from the attrition of expert employees, by getting them to capture their industry-specific expertise gained over their employment through simulations that we create on our platform, and getting employees young employees to respond to those simulations and learn and using AI as a assisted model. So essentially, the core focus is to create industry-specific sales and customer service training programs using AI-generated simulations, and to be able to create industry-ready manpower from campuses, and also for helping in career mobility. Who we want to be? Essentially, generative AI technology that powers business conversations. And essentially, we want to be an entity that can unlock the full potential of human conversations. Very quickly, as I and Arindam speak, in these 15 minutes, our words that we speak will create our destiny in this relationship, in this dynamic. And the words that we speak will typically, today I'm on video, but typically we don't speak on video. We speak with our videos off. And essentially, we are hardwired to make first contact opinion. And the 2,000 words that I speak in this conversation are going to be triggering some hardwired opinions, which will make the stakeholders in this conversation make some decisions, be it for, and therefore we tend to negotiate, we say no, sometimes we have to brand ourselves. So all of us sell at some point or the other, whether we are in IT, whether we're in development. So our platform, I Can Sell, is essentially to help anyone to do customer service, do sales, based on situations or simulations that are given to them, which we generate through our AI models, and which are in real time assessed through our backend technology. So all learners get real time assessments of what they have spoken in a certain situation and how they compare to an expert who may have responded to that situation. So this way, any organization or enterprise can store and capture knowledge generated by their teams over time and build a very powerful, comprehensive portfolio of knowledge. So this is our interface for scenarios where we create situations. This can be powered through voice, through text, or through, and also using augmented reality models where people can see themselves in action and learn how they come across. And these are real-time reports that they can see. You came across as enthusiastic and memorable. You came across as ambiguous, because each word we speak is linked to a certain competency using our NLP model. And then these words can also be compared with what an expert says. Therefore, an organization can automate the entire training process for all their incoming employees. So this is a product snapshot. Each simulation can then trigger onward micro learning. So if I were to do a simulation and then realize, and the system tells me that I'm low on persuasiveness, it will recommend certain games for me to play, and in 5 minutes in micro learning episodes give me the ability to play a game on persuasive communication, or maybe a snake and ladder game, or maybe do a role play, and then move up on the persuasiveness competency. So essentially, to sum it up, we are a platform that can help employees and career aspirants to play and compete and learn by doing, and essentially ultimately even get job matches so that they continuously improve on their competencies. Why we believe I and Arindam have been together, we've known each other for the last 10 years. And I have spent last 20 years in the assessment space and in the training space. And I've been in this space of creating large assessments for blue collar workers across the globe. As we speak, we're doing something for Saudi Arabian government, for DuPont, for Ericsson. We've done a lot of work in assessments and training. Arindam, why don't you introduce yourself? Good time for you to come in.
Right. Hi, good evening, everyone. So as Samir talked about us, so we've known each other for about 10 years now. And I have, in our previous endeavors also, I have led the technology efforts. So I am myself a coder. So the entire platform, the technology behind it, implementing it. So that is what I take care of. And I have worked with 2 startups before this. One was in the space of English learning, and the second one was with Samir. That was also in the space of learning, training, competency evaluation. And I started out my career as the first employee of Jack Daniels in India, and I set up the operations and the entire setup in India. So this has been my background. Going forward, Samir mentioned that we primarily focusing on two sets of target audiences. One is the individuals, the employees who were just joining the job force, and they are still struggling in today's day and age. We read a lot about they're confused with the advent of AI, with the advent of new technologies. How should they be ready? How should they present themselves? How if they're appearing in an interview? What should they say so that it creates a positive impact on the person who's recruiting them, as well as for enterprises, wherein the enterprises have to do lots of trainings, and how can trainings and evaluating the competencies of their workforce become a much more standardized process, and where they get immediate feedback, thus reducing their costs, and at the same time giving them the flexibility to have repeated and continuous evaluation rather than an one-off evaluation on the competencies which their employees are demonstrating.
Right. And ultimately, we want to break down the cost and time required for onboarding talent, which is industry ready and career ready, and can hit the ground running in a corporation because they have been pre-evaluated on the simulations that they are going to face in when they join.
Right. So going forward, how do you want to how do we propose to build our business going forward? So we are already in talks with, like Sameer mentioned, we've already started doing projects for companies like DuPont, Ecom, WakeFit, and so on, wherein we are evaluating their internal employees as well as their clients on the various competencies which are being demonstrated. So we've started off with enterprise clients, where we are evaluating them on sales and customer service, as well as looking to build assessment centers. Going forward, we will be looking to start tying up with various schools, colleges, in partnership with Bringle itself, to do some to work, go into the school college space to evaluate the competencies which various students across various age groups are demonstrating, and have a continuous plan for them to enhance their competencies and skill sets. Going forward, over the next 1 year, we would look to carve out a niche in some specific sectors like hospitality, retail, and so on, and have through our AI engine give very specific inputs and recommendations for these particular industries. We would look to tie up with organizations in this space, trainers in this space, and across, and we would also look forward to expanding our footprint across outside of India as well.
Just 2 points I'd like to add on to what Arindam has said. As we speak, DuPont has commissioned our platform to use as a tool for their own clients. So DuPont in India has an organization which we'll talk about later, and they are asking us to partner with our product for them to sell various kinds of assessments and training programs to their own clients as well as for themselves. And they are taking us to other countries like Arindam. Which are these countries that DuPont last mentioned?
So they're taking us to, in the first week of April, we have conversations with their Japanese, Chinese, and Indonesian counterparts, where they have already seen a demo of our product and they have really appreciated what we are bringing to the table.
Right.
And we'll be having discussions to expand into these markets as well.
So as we speak, we have committed revenues of about $150,000 from DuPont, which is not including these international destinations. The second thing that Arindam just talked about was a partnership with Bringle, which is our friend, Anshav, and also Dr. Vinaya. And this is to use their experience, Dr. Vinaya's exposure to schools, to take this product to schools for their life skills training programs. We'll talk about this in greater detail in subsequent conversations.
Right. And as Sameer mentioned, so we have got our technology platform up and running. We are in the process. We have already integrated some Python ML libraries like Spacey, and we are in the process of fine-tuning and creating our own models for the purpose of assessment in various specific contextual scenarios in the industries which we talked about. In addition, like we've been talking about DuPont being our flagship client right now, wherein they are using our platform to measure the competencies of the employees of the clients. So they have already signed up 2 clients. Kirloskar has already decided to use our platform through DuPont, as well as Mayfair has started and has agreed to use our platform. So we are in the process of giving the finishing touches to those, and will be launching them in the first week of April, in addition to the conversations with the international markets of DuPont. Uh, in addition to DuPont, we are doing certain assessments, blue collar assessments for the Saudi government for various skill sets. These will be something based similar to our Skill Development Council assessments for various job roles, right from food and beverage operations to chef to bakers to retail chains, gas station attendants, and so on and so forth. And so this is what we are looking for. So we're looking to raise about $500,000, and this would be primarily used for enhancing our product, building the more our capabilities in the field of AI, and as well as marketing and sales to reach out to a wider target audience in the specific sectors and niches which we talked about. And this would also include reaching out to the schools, colleges, consumer and customer engagement to get them to use our product. And as we are an AI product, so the more our customers and consumers use our product, the more feedback, more data points we collect, and the better inputs that we'll be able to get. So these are some of the various competitors which we have mapped out in the market. And like in the top right quadrant, if you can see like Symbol.ai. So Symbol.ai will be in the same space. Like Symbol.ai does specific about customer service and sales training bots and evaluating how employees are doing in terms of customer service and sales. And like Symbol.ai has raised it's about a 5-6 year old company, and has raised about 23 odd million. So that is like one of the competitors which we'll be really tracking and benchmarking.
Yeah, we can do a detailed analysis based on this magic quadrant of Gartner in a subsequent discussion. So we will be developing some intellectual property in the coming days, and I think we are up over for time, unless Dr. Vinaya, you are giving us more time.
You're on mute, Dr. Vinaya.
So we were actually supposed to be 2 more slides, right?
Yeah, there are 2 more slides. Can we go ahead?
Yeah, please. If it is only 2 more, because I was just seeing the content of the slide.
Okay.
No.
Yeah. So Arindam, why don't you talk about the IP that we are developing?
Right. So as we mentioned, we are developing our own custom LLM models, which we are fine tuning, which will be adapted to the various contextual situations and industries that we are working in, and give very specific, very customized recommendations to the customers as well as the consumers. To the customers, the inputs that we'll be giving is how they can enhance their workforce, evaluate the competencies of the workforce, and enhance their outputs and productivity. And to the individual consumers, which could be through in various enterprises, which could be part of various schools and colleges, on how they can keep enhancing their competency skill sets to be successful in the various job roles which they will be joining in the coming years. So
I'd like to just make a point. Sorry, Arindam, just half a minute. I was in Saudi Arabia last month. Essentially, the Saudi Arabian government is spending a lot of money on a target audience called females who are coming into the workforce, who largely been at home. And we are working with the HR Ministry of Saudi government for a project on assessments, and we are trying to pitch our product to help them. How can women in Saudi Arabia use our platform to learn through simulations various scenarios on retail, approaching customers, saying no to a customer, unreasonable customers? How can girls in Saudi Arabia who've never ventured out of their house start learning? So this is one of our aspirations, and this takes me to the next slide, which is our partners, so Sameer and Ihab are both our partners who have exited 2 large startups, sold them to Infor in Europe, and they are very strong in Saudi Arabia and Dubai, and they are the people who want us to reach by middle of this year a stage where we can sit in front of the Saudi government for such initiatives.
Right. So that kind of summarizes our what we are and what we're doing and how we're going to go about it and our plans for the future. So
Any
yeah.
questions?
Thank you. Yeah, thank
Great.
you.
Thank you, Samir. Thank you, Arindam. And I just open the forum for any questions and Q&As which Ricky, Vatsal, and anyone would have. Yes, please go ahead, Ricky.
Hi, so thanks for sharing the presentation, taking us through it. Just wanted to know currently, so we didn't go into a detailed, deep dive for the quadrant, but what is your, like, if you can just explain about your one or two biggest competitors who are already in the market and what are they doing right now? What are the kind of, not fundraise, but what are the kind of sales they're doing, stuff like that.
Yeah. If we look at Symbol is global. They originated in India, but they are now US incorporated. And they are our product was conceptualized about 3 years ago with Ericsson when we were doing a storytelling program with them, and they wanted to create a platform which can get people to sell using stories. That's when we thought of this product, and this was pilot tested at Ericsson in a very it wasn't called AI Can Sell at that time, right? However, we map ourselves to Symbol. Arindam, who should we consider the closest competitor as far as beyond Symbol? Because I cannot think of anyone who's doing industry specific work. If I am going to work on retail, if I am going to create LLMs for retail, LLMs for, say, the IT industry, some of the largest industries which hire, right, or for the automobile industry, there is no one right now doing industry specific LLMs to help learners adopt or embrace in a simulated environment. Arindam?
Yes, exactly. So there's nobody who's doing very industry specific work. They are doing very functional work. For example, Symbol focuses on customer service across various industries. So our niche would be where we pick certain industries and build our repertoire and our expertise in that. That is how we would want to position ourselves.
Yes. So in that quadrant, we are a conversation intelligence platform, and Salesforce is getting there. Salesforce is definitely getting there because they have, of course, the head start of millions of companies in the sales space.
Yeah, so Salesforce is there. There's another company called Lyris, which is also in that space, which provides very generic conversational inputs. They also leverage aspects of NLP to predict the sentiments which are being evoked. But again, they are also very horizontal across various industries and not very specific to any particular industry or target audience. Yes, Vatsal, we have already, as we mentioned, we've already got clients like DuPont on board, for whom we have already developed and launched the product. We are in the phase 2 of next phase of the development. DuPont, the annual expected revenue is about $150,000. In addition, we have been doing projects. We have clients like Ecom, with whom the annual revenue would be about 20 lakh rupees. Then, of course, we are just about to commence work with Bringle across various schools and colleges, and our discussions are still. We are in the final stages of discussion with Dr. Vinaya and Anshav regarding that. In addition, we are doing a project with the Saudi government for assessments. For that, I think again we are as of now we are in the first phase of the deployment. For this first phase, which will be done over the next 1 quarter or the next 3 months, for that we are anticipating a revenue of about 20 lakh rupees for the same. So cumulatively across these 3-4 clients which we already have and our product is being used, so we are looking at a committed revenue already of about 180 to $200,000 for this coming financial year.
We just want to add that these few clients are purely our extended network. We have not sold, we have not gone out into the market. We're looking at organizations which are friendly. So, for example, Ecomp is somebody we know very well, and they have expressed a desire to invest in our company when we reach a certain stage. So these are organizations which are coming in not just for as a client, but also as very strategic partners.
Yes, and Vatsal, to answer your second question, yes, we have already raised the first invoice for DuPont, and we are expecting it in the first week of April. So the invoice we've already raised was for the first phase of it. For that, we raised an invoice of about 8 lakh rupees for DuPont, which is expected in the first week of April. And with regards to the product stage at DuPont, so the first stage was giving them a basic platform wherein they had certain inputs and we had created our own inputs. They wanted to customize it in the look and feel of their brand colors, logo, etc. And they had a certain flow which they wanted. So the customization of our basic platform in their brand colors, etc., was done, which they have already started showing to their clients. And as I mentioned, Kirloskar has already signed up. So Kirloskar is going to start using that product from the first week of April. Similarly, Mayfair, which is into, I think, construction, has also signed up. And
may I just interrupt you, please?
Yep, please.
Sure. Since we are short on time, I think we've got the basic answer there to the question.
Okay.
Can you just share a little light? I mean, my last question would be, can you just share what is Kirloskar trying to do with this product?
So Kirloskar has like various employees across the various plants. So so our platform is very effective for people who cannot leave their workspace. So there are in their various plants, people cannot leave their workspace, come to a specific training room to undergo training. So they can start using this. So once they're using it, so for example, one of the courses which they'll be using is work at height, right? Within work at height, so there are various competencies, technical as well as non-technical, which a person needs to be aware of while working at height to ensure safety, to properly implement things, to ensure there are no fatalities, properly and efficiently enforcing or conducting their work. So through our platform, the individuals at these plants will be evaluated on these various competencies, technical as well as non-technical. And so, like, that is one of the reasons that we talked about hospitality, retail as our niche segments. So our platform is very good, and because we have things like games, role plays, and so on, where people who cannot leave their job space to come to a training room. So that is, so in that specific situation,
or don't have the mastery of the English language to read through multiple PowerPoints. So we're using micro learning simulations and scenarios and role plays, all of them generated through AI simulations, AI assisted technologies to create content on the go.
Okay, thanks so much, guys. That's from my side. Anyone else have questions?
I don't see. Then we shall close this up here and take it ahead for Tarun Mohan. Is that fine?
Tarun, you're on mute. We can't hear you.
Okay. Thank you, Samir. Thank you, Arindam.
Thank you so much.
Pleasure. Thank you, Vinay. Thank you, everyone else, for your time. And
Thanks,
yeah,
Arindam. Thanks, Samir.
Yeah,
Thank you.
we'll
Wishing you
now.
all the best with this.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you so much. Dr. Vinay, should we stay on for, you okay with that, right?
It's yeah, absolutely fine. We are okay with it. And I think Tarun is joining. Yeah, it's presenting, right?
Just
I'm
Tarun, you're on mute.
Yeah, we are not able to hear.
Yeah, now let me just sorry. Good evening, everybody. Can you see my screen?
No, actually.
No, Tarun.
I have shared.
Yeah,
Yeah,
we can see
yeah.
it now.
Yes,
Okay.
we can.
Yeah. Good evening, Dr. Vinaya, Rickson, Vatsal, Sameer, and Arindam, and of course, Vikram. So let me introduce ourselves. We are from MobiPay with Vikram and myself as two partners. We both go back about 45 years ago with classmates in IIT, and we've been drinking friends and now working partners. What we do at MobiPay is disrupt payments. Um, we have a focus, very clear focus is what we do is global. Very often a global first, and it's built on very strong B2B partnerships. It could be banks, could be um, PSPs, banks, schemes, and the more. So what we do right now here is online m-commerce card payments. You all handle m-commerce, like you when you go to Flipkart, Amazon, Swiggy, Zomato, you either pay on UPI, you pay on wallet, you pay on cards, or you pay on net banking. Our focus here is clearly on cards. We don't want to interfere in UPI. It's very popular. It's a killer on global digital platforms. Our focus is on cards. And on cards, what you've been doing right now is enter a card number, either it's stored as a tokenized card number, CVV, expiry, and then you may or may not get an OTP for a second factor of authentication. That's the process which has been there for years and years and years. Um, in a card payment language, this is called a card not present transaction, because unlike at a merchant shop where you as a card holder go and present your card, it could be tapped or could be a swipe at the payment machine. This is not where you are physically present at the merchant. You're virtually present at the merchant only. That's why they're all called card not present. And this in Indian transactions requires a second factor of authentication, which is a OTP. Now, if you see the whole process, it's cumbersome. Card entry, OTP entry, or then even RBI says card tokenization, but it still involves an OTP, a second factor of authentication. In these transactions, it has about an 8 or 10% failure rate. There is a chance of a higher chargeback or a reversal in transaction or denial in transaction, and a fraud. You can use a second person's card. You can use a stolen card. What we have done is we have our software application where we integrate our application with an existing m-commerce partner app, which could be a Flipkart customer app, Amazon customer app. So what you see on your handset, our software basically integrates with those applications on your handset and enables a tap and pay. You can simply tap your own card on your own phone and make a payment. I'll show you a demo after the call, after the deck is over, for you to make you realize how it actually works. Now, what has happened in this whole process is that we have converted your handset, which is the customer handset, into a card accepting terminal. Okay. And this transaction has now been classified as a card present, where you are the card holder, your phone is the card transaction terminal, and you physically are present at the terminal to make a payment transaction. If you see the demo, you'll see how fast, simple, safe, and secure it is. Now, what it also brings to the merchants and the card issuers, which is the banks, is lower costs, because the chance of a fraud or a chargeback is much, much lower in this case. So the biggest advantage to the merchants is a lower cost. Besides India, where we are doing the first pilot, this is a global first. I'll come to the partnerships we have to explain to you how are we going global with this. This is how briefly, if you see the screen, the first point is what you have on all your mobile app and commerce apps. You come, you pay by UPI, wallet, debit card, net banking, EMIs, cash on deliveries. And with our solution coming in with these merchant apps, you'll have an option, fifth or sixth option called tap your card. So if you can tap your card, it will authorize the payment as a simple tap on the payment terminal and it goes through. It's as simple as that. There's no card entry, no OTP required. OTP is required only if the transaction is more than rupees 5,000 today, which is what
No, Tarun, OTP is still not required. What will be required is your
ATM pin.
ATM. Yeah, not the
pin,
OTP.
Yeah. So there's no OTP. It's only an ATM pin. Sorry. Thanks for correcting me out. Only an ATM pin is required. So you don't have to wait for an OTP to come in. No fear of an OTP hijacking. Nothing of that kind. So this is what you have to do in case of a tap your own card on your own contactless NFC enabled phone. In case you don't have an NFC phone, we also can store your digital cards on your own phone, like you have Apple Pay, GPay, Samsung Pay. If you use them all, you can store your digital card on your phone. And we can pull one of those digital cards out for payment into an m-commerce application. Again, these are all card present. So again, no OTP. What you will need is only an ATM pin in case it's more than rupees 5,000. And I've got some links over here done. If you see in my deck, RBI in its monetary policy announced on the 8th of February this year, about a month and a half ago, has asked for no OTP based card transactions. And we are the only ones who can do it like this. RBI also asks for, it's a mandate that I want to do in-device tokenized cards, or I also want to tokenize cards for guest transactions on m-commerce. Now, what is a guest transaction is when you don't have your login ID and password saved on m-commerce. You can just simply go enter your card number and do it out. There are a few m-commerce portals who allow your guest transaction without card tokenization card being saved. So this is what the two RBI mandates are asking for, and we comply with them right now. How is the card present an edge? I've told you already, it's a lower chargebacks, low reversals. This is low on capex. We don't have no hardware cost. It's a pure software cost, and it is a lower cost of transaction. MDR is the cost which a merchant pays to the bank to handle a card transaction. It could be 0.3, 0.5, 1, 1.2, 1.5%, depending on the card, debit card or a credit card, and then a premium credit card or a corporate credit card. They all have different rates. That's what we call MDR, which is a merchant discount rate. Then we also have our partnerships with large m-commerce companies coming in. I'll put the list in the next slide. So we don't have any cost of direct customer acquisition. It's a plain, simple B2B transaction. Now, what happens in this case is when you have your existing payment gateways, say from BillDesk, I'm taking some names. I don't know if you know about the names, Razorpays, BillDesks, PayUs, CC Avenues. You may have seen the names when you do a m-commerce transaction, Just Pay and all. So those are existing gateways. Our card present solution has a zero failure rate. It's much simpler, faster, smoother, and it is lower on costs to the merchant. That's the advantage we have over everybody else currently today. Okay, we also have patents filed, granted, and under application. Our application is, our platform is fully certified with all the RBI and the Scheme is the Visa, Master, RuPay credentials. Everything is in place. We are presenting to the RBI sandbox with Visa.
Tarun, can I get from here how we are taking
Yeah,
this
you
to
can
the
do it,
market,
Bikram. Yeah.
if you're okay? Yeah. So, how are we taking this solution into the market? I just quickly talk about the various stakeholders that we need to tie up with. So one is obviously the scheme, which is Master, Visa, and RuPay. The other is we need an acquiring bank for this. And the third is the merchants. I don't need to go to the end consumer at all, right? So as Tarun mentioned, we are not a B2C company, we are B2B2C. So I don't need to go to the end consumer. Now, what we need to do is we integrate our SDK with the merchant application. We have already tied up with MasterCard, Visa, and RuPay. With Visa, we have an agreement signed, which is a global first, exclusive, India-based pilot. We have the acquiring bank in place, which is Axis Bank. And Tarun briefly mentioned what we are doing is we obviously require a yes from RBI to take the solution into the market. Our initial plan was to plug in an application to RBI, which would take a fairly long time. We were in the process of doing that when RBI recently on the 28th of February have announced regulatory framework, sandbox framework. What that basically means is that it's basically a pilot. You plug in you apply to RBI, you plug in your solution. They will run it under their guidance for the next 6 to 9 months, and based on what the results are, then they will give a nod, yes or no, to the solution. So as we speak, we are working on plugging in this into the sandbox, which will be done by Axis, not by us, since Axis is the regulated entity under RBI, supported by us and by Visa. As far as MasterCard is concerned, from a customer perspective, whether it's Visa, MasterCard, it's all the same, whether it's RuPay. So MasterCard has said, you please go ahead with Visa. As soon as you're ready, we'll jump onto the bandwagon. We don't want to reinvent the wheel. As far as RuPay is concerned, they have already given us the okay, and they are willing to come on board on this solution. The next stakeholder, which is the merchants, we've already communicated with merchants. From merchant, this is really a no-brainer because it saves them anywhere between 0.2 to 0.25% on the credit debit card transactions. So we've got merchants like Flipkart, Swiggy, Zomato, Ease My Trip, Make My Trip already saying yes, they want to become a part of this pilot. Now,
And Razorpay and Adani. I've mentioned over here this in the.
Yeah. So but you Razorpay and Pine Labs is more in terms of the merchants that they will bring in. I mean, they are the ones who control most of the merchants in terms of online payments today. A quick point on how do we make money? Well, our revenue model is simple. If I'm helping the merchant save 20 basis points, my offer to them is you give back 4 to 5 basis points to us in terms of our revenue. It's a simple transaction based percentage, as I said, which will be about 4 to 5 basis points, which will come out of the save that I'm generating for the merchant. So that's our revenue model here. And as I said, this is a global first solution by Visa and us, and Visa has committed to us that once we are kind of are successful in India, they will help us take this global. And the benefit going global is that in markets like the US and the Middle East, the differential is as high as 1.2 to 1.5%. Whereas in India, the differential is about 20 basis points, 0.2 to 0.25%. So there's a much larger play available both for merchants and for us in the overseas market. So Tarun, over to you.
Yeah, thanks, Vikram. So while we were bootstrapped till about a year and a half ago, it took us almost like 6-7 years to put all the technology and the certifications in place. We began raising money the first time in August of 22, and that's when we raised $100,000. We again raised about 200,000 USD in between February and November last year. Total raise has been $0.3 million. Of a total plan of raising
$230,000, Tarun.
yeah,
Not
0.3 million.
2.3
0.3 million.
0.3 million. Yeah, sorry. Okay.
0.3
Right.
million, 0.3 million, of a total planned raise of $1 million. So we have a gap of $0.7 million still to be brought into the company. 0.3 has come in the company. We already spent the money already in the last year and a half in terms of manpower, development, operational expenses. This money was raised at a pre-money valuation of 6 million USD, offering almost close to 12% of the stake in the company. The pre-money, this 6 million USD translated to a per share value of rupees 50,000. So we are maintaining the same issue and the same offer right now to our investors, 50,000 rupees per share, offering a gap of $0.7 million. And that money would be going into the spend as per this chart given and shared with you already, primarily into manpower and into customer development, customer management, and a bit into customer support. That's where the money would be going into. We have a full business plan made out for the next 5 years. If you like to discuss it out whenever you want offline, it includes our second product also, which we'll discuss later. We don't want to discuss it right now, but this is a major project vertical for us. So we've done the whole business plan, all our ratios, everything is all set with us. We know what we are doing. We also want to point out that we have revenues with us already in this current year. So besides this payment solution, we do payment for transit, which is like metro and bus ticketing. We also run a platform like Paytm in Libya for the Central Bank of Libya there. So these two products today together give us about 2 crores of revenue in 2023-24. We should be going live with these new products in 24-25, Q1 of next year, of next financial year. And that's where we put a whole business plan and revenue numbers together for you. The team is about 14 or 15 full-time engineers, plus there's Vikram and me, who are the two co-founders, and we have one admin guy. So total team is about 18 people, out of which 14 are full-time engineers focused on the development of the project, of the product. That's where we are. Any questions? Can I stop sharing and show you the demo?
I hope we came within the time frame.
Yes, indeed.
So can I show you the demo right now? How it works?
Yes, please.
Okay. So what I showed you in the initial slide where you had the payment page of a Flipkart or a Zomato where you had options of UPI, wallet, cards, net banking. You'll have a fifth option or a sixth option, depending on what it shows, which says tap your card. So this will be the screen like this. If you see, it will say, can you see, it will say card payment. It says card payment. Can you read it?
Yep. Yeah, go ahead, Tarun. Go ahead.
So if I say card payment, it will ask me for the amount. Okay, wait. Enter the amount. This amount actually will come from the m-commerce partners cart. So if you have a shopping value of 2,000 rupees or 3,000 rupees, this amount actually will come from there. I am putting a dummy value in over here right now, and it says card payment. All I'm going to say is confirm. Okay, this is my card I have, a bank card. It's a Visa card. It will say pay by card. And over here it says payment done.
So this Visa card that you had, does it need to be with you while you are making the payment?
Yes. So the logic I told you is card present. I am the card holder.
Yes.
This is the payment terminal. I myself am present with my card at the payment terminal.
In how much radius does the card need to have? Like,
Pardon
do I
me?
need to stick it to phone? Do I need to stick my card to the phone, or can my card be lying anywhere in the room or in the house?
Within 4 centimeters. Within 4 centimeters. This is the specification of card transactions. The maximum gap is 4 centimeters.
So Vatsal, just to add to what Tarun said, so when you go to a brick and mortar outlet, let's say you're sitting at a restaurant and the way you're done with your dinner, the waiter brings a machine to your table, right? He brings the POS machine, it's called POS machine, point of sale machine, and you can tap your card on that machine, right? So what we are doing is we're doing exactly that transaction for you sitting at home on your personal handset. So it's the same concept, the same tap and pay that you will do in a brick and mortar outlet outside. So currently,
Understood.
when you're doing an e-commerce transaction, it hits a payment gateway, right? Which is either Razorpay or just a name that Tarun took. It does not hit the payment gateway. So that is another savings for the issuer. It goes to what is called a POS switch, right? And now from a Visa and MasterCard perspective, because the cardholder and the card are present near the terminal, the risks are much lower. So, for a customer to then dispute the transaction, it is not possible, which is why the fulfillment of charges of transactions, A, is higher. B, disputes are much lower in this.
Understood. I see clear benefits for merchants. I'm not able to see clear benefit for a consumer who is using it.
Okay.
Okay, let me try and
The
explain.
customer payment process. You enter your card number today.
No, I don't. So
You don't. You saved your card.
exactly. Typically all the consumer behaviors, the cards are typically saved.
Yeah, I'll tell you more. The card
So-
issuers say that only 10 or 12% of
What's
the
up?
cards have been saved.
Go ahead, sorry, go ahead.
Only 10 or 12% cards have been saved. So 90% cards are still not tokenized. And the RBI mandate is, he says, I want to do 100% tokenized cards on MCOS payments. Now this, where basic idea of tokenized card is, I don't save my actual card details on a payment gateway or a merchant. When I do a tap and pay like this, I as a switch don't have the card details with me. It goes to the bank directly. So this is in compliance with the RBI requirements where I'm not allowed to save the card data.
So you're saying that
So what's a lot of customers today, Tarun has given you the numbers, and these are numbers that we've got from the schemes that the 10 to 12% cards that's the number that is stored today either on a payment gateway or a merchant side. Customers are still unwilling to store their card numbers because they have a fear that it may be misused.
got it.
Yeah. Sorry, you were
You
asking.
may do it out. I don't do it out. Vikram doesn't do it out. He doesn't. I don't. You may do it out.
I don't. I get scared.
There
I
you are.
don't. I
There you
don't.
are.
So just to add,
Understood.
Vatsal, you're very progressive, and yes, I mean most tech guys. I mean, I would normally do it, but just a couple of years ago, JustPay had their entire database leaked. So yeah, so there's. Though I use 5 different merchants regularly, I still don't use the credit card tokenization saved on the merchant. So yeah, what they're saying, I mean the numbers obviously back it. If they say it's 10%, then that's 10%.
So we've done a homework. We've done a homework completely over the last 5 years. What is required? The gaps, current ecosystem. We are thorough on numbers. We are really thorough on numbers. Because Vikram is ex-banker. He's ex-banker, Citibank, 17, 18 years. So we know banking, we know payments, we know we talk to the bankers like one to pata gadbad kya hai tumhare paas. It's like that we talk to them.
Yeah, what's you had
So yeah, another question is you said you save almost 20 basis points on the card transactions.
Yeah.
Now, first question is how do you benchmark the savings? Like how do you measure that?
Okay. So Vatsal, today the acquiring bank offers a merchant discount rate to the merchants, right? Now,
Perfect.
the acquiring bank for all e-commerce transactions which are treated as okay, let me first explain the merchant discount rate, whatever be it today, 1.2, 1.3, 1.5%. Now that is currently distributed amongst a set of players, right? It'll go, part of it is paid to the scheme, which is Master Visa card. Part of it goes to the acquiring bank, part of it goes to the switch, part of it goes to the issuing bank, right? So these are the 3-4 players who take a part of that merchant discount rate. Now, there is something called interchange, which is the fee that the schemes charge. Okay. So out of this, I'm just taking a hypothetical figure. Let's say it's 1.5. Out of the 1.5, let's say 0.3 is the interchange that Master, Visa, or RuPay will charge on the credit debit cards, right? Now, for a card present transaction, this interchange is where the differential comes in. Okay, the others will remain the same, but it is the interchange which drops for a card present transaction.
Got it.
Right? And that differential in India is about 20 basis points.
Okay.
And also the issuers don't have the cost of an OTP, which is about 10, 12 paisa.
Yeah.
So that also cost goes off. And then in the existing payment gateway, there is a loss of between 8 and 12% is a loss in transaction because OTP nahi aaya, wrong OTP enter kar diya hai. So those also are a factor which you said over there. It's a 100% success rate with us.
Got it. Understood. And
Just to
my
continue on
assumption
that.
is, yeah, sorry, it's good.
No, just on that same question, wanted to check with you guys two things. One is obviously the SMS's cost will not be as high as 10, 12 on bulk, right? It should be much lower.
It's about 12.
It's about
12.
no,
Okay.
Rickson, it's about 8 to 10 paisa per SMS.
Okay.
Yeah.
And the second more important one is if you say that the card present has a deduction on the charges, is that not currently given away to merchants? Like, example, an offline store should get a better MDR rate than an online Myntra or Zomato. So is that happening?
Yes, absolutely. You're right. So a transaction that you do at a physical store, at a restaurant, versus you placing an order on Swiggy has different discount rates that the merchant has to pay.
And what you're saying is it's going to differ by at least 10 to 20 basis points.
20 in India.
Yeah.
Overseas, America, Middle East, Africa is 1.5, the differential.
It's interesting because I use both and I don't get any differential. That's why I was asking this question.
Okay, let me tell you,
No,
because
1
in
minute.
America,
Tarun, 1 minute.
in the US,
Rickson, when you say you don't get as a customer,
No, as a merchant.
you should.
okay, as a merchant, I'll tell you. So, for example, what is happening in India? A lot of these acquiring banks, what they do is that they offer something called a blended rate, right? So, a bank doesn't make money only on acquiring business. So what a bank does is, let's say a bank is an acquirer for Flipkart or for Swiggy or Zomato, right? What they do is they look at the holistic relationship. What makes money for them really is the nodal account, is the current account on which the money is sitting. Because what they do is the settlement happens on T+1, right? So a lot of banks, and when I say a lot of banks, is basically HDFC Bank today, which offers a blended rate to the merchant. Now, when we do a card present transaction, let's say a blended rate is being offered to Flipkart, which is 1.4%. Once we do shift customers onto this tap and pay on a customer handset, the blended rate, when from Visa, MasterCard, the charges will come down. The blended rate will come down, if not by 20 basis points, it will come down by maybe 10 basis points. So that's a conversation that we will do once this is implemented with the acquiring bank, which is in this case Axis, and the merchant.
Okay, thanks, Vikram.
Yeah.
Yeah,
How come
Vatsal,
you
sorry
don't get
to
a different
intervene.
rate? Rickson, can I just
Yes.
clarify why is your rate not different?
That's for the bank to answer.
No,
I'll take it to the-
wait. Is it Indian bank or an overseas bank?
I'm talking about business in India. So yes, Indian bank.
No. India, leave it. If you do a bank in the US, there the charges on MDR are close to 2.4, 2.5, and sometimes 3.2%. Because in the US, you don't have an OTP. You just put your 1643 number and it goes through. So if I have your card details with me, I can put your card number and take a payment on my purchase.
So, Rixon, can I ask you what business are you in India? What category of business?
So, say for example, it's retail entertainment sector. So people coming to play games, that'll be offline. And on for the website, it would be for the website it's the same. Whether it's goods we are selling or some kind of booking for a hotel, we take their payment gateways and they give us the same rate.
And
Who's your bank?
I was just going to ask you that, who's the acquiring bank?
The bank, as an example, so I'm on offline. On offline, I'm with Paytm, I'm with Yes Bank, I'm with ICICI, and online, I'm with PayU.
PayU is one of our customers who was talking to us for the solution.
Sure.
So because say for example, PayU, I'll convert your offline, which is the payment, your online, which is the payment gateway transaction, to a POS transaction, which is what you do with ICICI or with Paytm.
That's right. I understood the whole thing. So it's very interesting. It's good. I like it. I just got that comment, so I thought it's something that's not seeming to be prevalent out here. So I just thought I'll just.
Now, India is I'm telling you, it's about 0.2% differential, but go to the US, it's a 1.5% because the risk and the fraud is very high in the US and the Middle East and Africa because of no OTP.
Sure. I just butted in with Vatsal asking questions, so let him continue. Thank you, guys.
So in India, RBI is regulated, tough regulated. I'm sure outside in US, other markets also, there would be a lot of regulations on payment space. So what are those regulations and how easy it is or how difficult it is to do a payments business?
Okay, so what's still coming back to this point over here in India? Also, we are a TSP. We are a technology service provider to Axis Bank. So while they do all the merchant acquiring, they've asked us to integrate with World9, which is their parent switch. So we will do the whole thing with World9 as the switch. The differential of what Axis will save of maybe 0.15 or 0.2%. We have asked for a 0.5% of that, 0.05%. We have asked for that. So we are a plain TSP. We don't want to go into any, RBI linked payment gateway aggregation business. It's not our business.
And Vatsal, sorry, Tarun, just to interrupt. Vatsal's question, to answer Vatsal's question. So Vatsal, as I mentioned, how we are taking this into the market. Our initial plan was to go to RBI with an application to allow us to do this. When I said we, I'm talking about Axis Bank because Axis Bank is the regulated entity. I am not, right? So Axis Bank will take the solution to RBI and plug it in as an application. That was the initial plan. Now, since RBI has announced these guidelines on the pilot or sandbox, they call it the regulatory sandbox, we are now, again, Axis Bank will plug it into the sandbox. We are in the process of applying for that. Axis will be the front facing to RBI. Of course, Axis will have to divulge who the partners are. They will say the MobiPay is the tech service provider, Visa is the scheme, MasterCard is the scheme who are coming on board. Axis will do the application into the sandbox. And that sandbox or that pilot will be regulated by RBI for the next 6 to 9 months under their guidance. That's how the sandbox works. And they will monitor it on a weekly basis. They'll ask for reports. They'll assess if there is any risk. All of that will be taken care of under RBI's guidance. And at the end of the pilot, at the end of the sandbox, RBI will give a final nod, yes or no, based on what the output is during those 6 months.
Understood. What about the global markets? So global market again.
We go as a TSP.
Again, we'll go as a TSP there also with the acquiring bank and the schemes. So as far as global is concerned, we are going to ride with Visa. Once it is kind of successful in India, Visa has confirmed that they will take us into the global market.
Got it. Understood. Yeah. Any global competitors so far?
On this solution,
Patented.
On this solution, thankfully nobody. But
as of today,
as of today, yeah. Obviously as of today.
It doesn't stop anybody from coming in. Okay. But Visa and MasterCard know that we have filed the patents, and our agreement is there with Visa for the global exclusive. So in this industry, you can't go without Visa and MasterCard. So if anybody comes in, he'll have to go to Visa Global. They'll put the same way. India already has it going. So you're in the queue. Plus, also, I'll tell you, Vatsal and Rickson, it's just not putting the application together with the merchant application. You just can't. There's a lot more complication inside, because in one phone, I'll have one application. I'll have 20 merchants connecting to it.
Like, for example, your
So
phone,
how do I
Vatsal, your phone will have Flipkart, Amazon, Swiggy, Zomato, Farmeasy, 1mg, blah, blah. There'll be multiple merchants, right? But we can put only one, we call it, it's called the SDK. We put in only one SDK into the phone, into the customer's hand phone, right? And which will link all these merchants onto that SDK. Right now, that is something which we have built, and it's, it has obviously taken us some time to build that solution.
That's the key. The key is, handling multiple merchants, the multiple currencies with one payment application. Like an example is, if I have 20 POS terminals in 20 shops, different shops, because each terminal has a different MID, a merchant ID, and a terminal ID. I'm combining all 20 into one. So that's the key. It's not just "Ki laga do, chala do."
Great.
Just to
Why
add
does
to that,
Hmm?
yeah, just to add to that question, are you trying to say that, when you're saying that's the key, are you trying to say that's a software you've built and that's going to be a moat for a while?
It will be.
Okay,
Yes.
thanks.
Not a very deep moat, but a moat with some alligators in over there for sure.
Good one. Sure.
See,
What's that?
because I'll tell you what, Visa will
Yeah,
want
sorry,
to
go
open
ahead.
it up. They can't keep
Open
it
it
to
up
one
again?
company forever.
Right.
So they may ask us to say, partner with A, B, C, D as their large. See, because in global players, you have people like Network, who's very large in the Middle East. You have Stripe in the US. You have about 4 or 5 large gateways in Europe. Africa, you have Flutterwave as a very large gateway. You have India itself. We have Pine Labs. We have Razorpay, both talking to us, saying they want to come on board for the pilot.
Great.
What's that? Any more questions?
So I understood the India part, like how does the commercial works in the payment merchant? What about payment gateways? How the commercials work there? The same way or?
I don't know. It's a different. We don't do payment gateways. We don't do payment.
No,
So,
no, no.
Vatsal,
You partnering with the payment gateways. How do you make money? Do you make the money directly via merchants or how do you?
A little louder, please, Vatsal. I couldn't hear you.
So what I mean is, for example, let's say B2B2C model, right? So you partner, let's say, with a merchant directly, and let's say India, and where you promise the merchant that you will charge the commercials, which is like 25% of the net savings that you are enabling to the merchant.
Yeah.
How does this work with payment gateway? Like, or you're saying the payment, like whatever the merchant does, merchant pays. How does it work with the payment gateway basically?
so okay, Tarun, let me answer that. So, Vatsal, most of these payment gateways in India today have both a payment gateway and a POS switch.
Okay.
Okay. Now, I did mention to you in the process that what we are doing is when we convert an online transaction goes through a payment gateway, right? What we are doing is that online transaction we've converted to a POS transaction. So basically, it moves from a payment gateway to a POS switch, right? Now, the benefit that accrues to a payment gateway like a Razorpay has multiple merchants on the online side, right? So they will shift their payment gateway transactions to the POS switch, which is their own POS switch.
Okay.
Okay. So the idea of going to the payment gateway was that, hey, our initial plan was to get to the merchants, the online merchants, right? But now we are saying, use this technology, get your merchants who are currently doing online transactions onto your own POS switch.
Okay.
Right. So instead of routing it to a payment gateway, route it through a POS switch, the benefit still accrues to the merchant. So you are taking a solution to your merchants,
Got it.
right? So that's the whole idea of taking it to the payment gateways. Though if you really see, I'm actually pulling away. If I don't go to the payment gateway, I'm actually taking away the business, right? Which is currently on their payment gateway. I'm taking it away and moving it to a POS switch.
Yeah.
So I'm telling the payment gateway, hey, you guys already have a POS switch. Shift it because there's a benefit. Partner with us. Take this as a solution to your online merchants.
Otherwise, comes to us then.
And move
we
it
hijack
to
it
your
out.
POS switch.
Otherwise, we
Understood.
hijack the customer.
Got it.
So you want them and they retain the customer. Otherwise, they'll lose the customer also.
Understood.
Any more questions, Vicky?
Nothing from my side.
Sure. So one important question on my side is, happy to know that you have got the patent and you applied. With this, I think it's based on NFC, and if that technology is pretty old. So why hasn't Google or Amazon or any other big, player already implemented this? Because you're trying to do, payments for a long time right now. Yeah. Maybe Alipay, maybe Amazon, maybe Google.
No idea. I have to ask them. See, to think is nothing much of a rocket science. The way we put it about a year ago, they could have, I'm sure they would have thought about it, may have slipped their mind. Because right now we see the whole contest of Google Pay charging a 12 to 25% commission on all app payments. We can be a competition to Google Pay. Because Google is saying only app download and in-app purchases are liable, are compulsory to go through their gateway. M-commerce purchases like say Flipkarts and everything else does not need to go through the Google Pay gateway. That is an open. So let's see. We have it live with Flipkart, Amazon. These merchants come on board. Maybe Google will say you do it out. They may try and copy. Because what Apple does is it's known to everybody. It first copies what it wants. And then when you fight at the patent against Apple, they'll come and settle with you offline. Or they'll buy you out and kill you because they want the patent. So they don't buy the patent in the first shot. They'll do it, they'll copy it out. You go to court, fight for a year, and then they'll say, okay, fine, here's the money. This is how Apple plays. Google, same way they plays.
Okay, thanks for that, Tarun. So just again, trying to dive a bit deeper into this, apart from the big players, are you seriously telling me there's no other startup or smaller player that started with this kind of a technology in the US or anywhere in the world?
Nobody has done in-app payments. See, the key is in-app payments. Tap and pay, if I tap my card over here, there's no rocket science to that. That is a very old technology. But the key is in-app payments. Because tap and pay is good for NFC phones only. Non-NFC phones, you have to go for a tokenized card in your phone, in-device tokenization, and pull the card from there. So the patent we have filed is on two grounds. A is converting a customer handset to a card acceptance terminal. We checked all the patent records globally. The patent records are filed for a merchant handset accepting a card payment terminal, not for a customer handset.
Let me interrupt with that. So congratulations, that's a really good one.
So Dixon, let me just add here, since you are in the same business and you understand the POS machines and all, so maybe that could be one of the reasons. So what happens, and I'm talking specifically about India. So let's say you have a merchant, ABC. That merchant is issued by the acquiring bank something called an MID, which is a merchant identifier, right? So that will be a unique number for that merchant. Now that merchant will have multiple POS machines across the country, across different locations. Each terminal is issued something called a TID, which is a terminal identifier. That TID is linked to the MID, right? Now, this information needs to be reported to RBI, right? So which is why I said I'm talking the Indian context. Now, when I convert a customer handset into a card acceptance terminal, each customer handset needs to have a TID. Okay. Now, and that TID needs to be linked to a MID, right? So,
Yes.
which is, so now this entire piece is something that we have built. Now, I'm just kind of, conjecturing that this could be one of the reasons that there's nobody in the market who's even thought of converting a customer handset into a POS machine. See, converting a merchant handset is easy because, a merchant will have, let's take a, even if I take a large merchant with multiple stores across the country, let's take Chroma, for example, since we've been talking to Chroma, they will have maybe a few thousand terminals across the country, right? So that's a few thousand TIDs. But when I am creating the solution for, let's say, Flipkart today has 200 million customers, of which about 70 to 80 million are active customers, right? Now, if let's say 10 million of them convert to this, there are 10 million TIDs. And those 10 million TIDs need to be reported to RBI, right? So as I said, I'm just conjecturing. Maybe nobody kind of thought of this solution because, each TID then needs to be linked to an MID. And, as I was explaining to Vatsal, his phone may have 5 different merchant apps, right? So I have to create a solution where the TID is linked to a unique MID, and then it hits the acquiring bank for the transaction to go to the right place.
But handles Flipkart as unique MID, Zomato as unique MID,
Yes.
Swiggy is unique MID. So that whole architecture inside the phone is what we have also built. Which I don't think anybody, I don't know. I can't, Ricky, I can't connect. I can't, say why people haven't put together, but it's not that simple. It's not that simple.
Sure, thanks. So last couple of questions. One is, when are we expecting live transactions for customers in your roadmap ahead?
About a quarter away.
Okay.
A quarter away. Because the RBI application with Access goes in next month. Now, RBI says they need a month to revert back with a yes or a no. And after that, they give you 3 months to set the whole system up.
And then it's a 6-month pilot post that.
Yeah, but we earn money in the pilot.
Yes.
We earn money in the pilot. Because it's
Sure.
live transactions.
Sure, thanks. And the last one is, you mentioned that you already having other products which earn you about 2 CR a year last year. So what is the, is that in the same company in which you're raising funding?
Yes.
Same company.
Okay, fine. Have you shared a financial, report on what you did last year as well as what are your projections for the future with Dr. Vinay?
I have a report for projections for the year ahead, next 5 years.
But we haven't shared the last year's financials. We can share that, Tarun.
I can share that with you.
Yeah.
2023 end was 0 revenue. 24 end will end with about 2.2 crores of revenue.
So that's March 25?
March 24.
March 24.
Okay, so that's fine. So financial year 23-24, right?
Yes.
Yeah, we'll have about 2.2 crores of revenue.
This
That's
2.2 crores is net revenue for MobiPay? Or
Yes.
For MobiPay, yes.
Sure. And what is the net profit on that?
It's
Expected?
a loss because we burn about 25 lakhs a month on our manpower and operational expenses. Plus, we also have other expenses of setup, hardware, capex, travel. So it's a net loss.
Okay. And where are you both based out of?
Vikram's in Bombay. I'm in Noida. Office is Noida with the office in Noida.
Okay, thank you very much. It was a nice presentation, great product, and all the best, and we'll be in touch.
Thank you.
Okay. Thank you.
Anything more? Vatsal, any more questions?
nothing. I have both.
I
send you-
Yes. Even I was just thinking where I am actually. I went into bank transactions, which I'm very, very bad at. And I'm like, okay, what is this all about? Oh, really? As I said just a few minutes back, Tarun, I must say the enthu behind everything and the way you were ready to answer and you were answering, I was really zapped up. Hats off.
No,
We lost all our hair. We have no hair left now.
Doctor, I keep joking with people when I talk to them that both Tarun and I turned senior citizens in February this year.
Last year. Oh, last year.
Oh, last year, sorry.
Last year.
So you're celebrating your senior citizenship in this way. You people are really inspiring, I must say. I am really grateful that I got this opportunity to listen to you all. Had it if Ansha would have been present, I would have not been sitting here में बाद में बैठ के आराम से recording देखती. But live देखना बहुत अच्छा था. It's really good. Big thanks to all of the people over here. Arindam, Rixin, Vatsal,
Sameer, any
Sameer,
questions from you? Sameer and Arindam, any questions from you?
मेरे ख्याल से अभी बहुत ज्यादा क्वेश्चंस हो गए. I'm sure they'll reach out.
Chalo. Okay. Thanks a
Thank
lot.
you.
Thanks.
Thank
Good
you very
night.
much. Bye-bye.
It was really, really good. Big thanks to everyone for making this up. Thank you, everybody. Ricky and Vatsal, there is warm leads were supposed to pitch us, but that's why I was able to give some more time while you were having the Q&A. He's stuck up in some traffic, so I just couldn't. I just said it's okay now. If he takes it up on the road, also it's going to be very difficult for us to understand. We'll see. We'll some other day and listen to it, maybe. But really nice. Thank you, Sameer. Thank you, Arindam. Thank you, Ricky, and thanks, Vatsal. See you all.
Thank you, everyone. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Thanks. Good night. Bye-bye.
Good night. Good night.
Good night.